What's good, y'all? This is Midas Drop. We are Midas Print Podcast, and today we have a special guest. Also, just very extraordinary black woman. And guess what? It is Women's History Month, so we have a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. And this is Bria Brown. She is our guest today, and she will introduce herself and tell us her story.
Thank you. I'm like still getting used to Bria Brown.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Mike said, I am Bria Virgil Brown. I am a youth advocate, a former nonprofit executive director, currently vice president of development of another nonprofit and a nonprofit consultant. Along with that, I sit on a couple of boards and am a pageant girly. Been in the game for over a
Mhm.
decade.
Yeah, so she has a lot of stuff. Like we stacked. And I'm trying to it was just hard to come up with a lot of ways to talk about one thing and then not go spill into another thing because everything when I was looking at it and coming up with what I wanted to talk about with you, everything just seems to be one big web connected with everything that goes on with what you do. So I'm like, all right, this is gonna have to be a conversation. It doesn't have to be scripted. It just
Yeah.
has to be just flowy. Obviously we go way back, your story. I want my audience to know because you do have your organization, Ambassador of Change, which is strictly for Black women and youth.
Mhm.
But a lot of people just don't get that Black woman experience, even in women's psychology,
Mhm.
which is a book that I read and actually took a class on because I wanted to know what is the psyche of women. But when I was reading the book, because I love to read, and I was
Mhm.
reading, and it talked about every other woman's experience, but the Black woman experience wasn't very meticulous in its description. So I'm like, I don't, I'm not, I'm not understanding. So, what is your experience of being a Black woman and building up this nonprofit organization, which is strictly for Black women and youth?
Yes. So I love that you notice like how everything in my life is kind of like integrated or as a
Hmm.
web because I truly believe that everything that I do stems from me being a black woman and living my life as a black
Yeah.
woman. I often, when I talk about like my work and how I navigate the world, I always lead with like I wake up as a black woman first. Like I can't
Hmm.
not acknowledge that. Um, and that's strictly like just like how society
Hmm.
is built. Like it's impossible for me to like leave my house and not realize that I'm one, am a black person and have to
Hmm.
navigate America as a black person, but then throw on top of that as a woman,
Hmm.
it's a little double whammy. So
For real.
so and that's really integrated in the work and like how I navigate my life.
Mm.
And with Ambassadors of Change, we're really trying to one create a space for Black women to unpack the traumas of being just a Black woman navigating the world, navigating leadership positions, trying to like find their space.
Mhm.
So one of the statistics that we always say is like 8 out of 10, so 80% of Black women experience some form of trauma.
Mhm.
Um, and we have to unlearn that trauma or learn how to navigate through that and around that so we can better ourselves and like keep escalating.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm kind of rooted in.
Mhm.
And you can see that throughout my work. Along with that, always for the youth, always for youth development. So it's just both of those.
Yeah, I like that. So with the youth, how
Mhm.
does that work? I mean, is the youth in there because of Black women? Like, there's a lot of, I would say, the statistics is high for single mothers, right?
Mhm.
So when I saw that, I was thinking, okay, is she mean that because of a lot of Black single mothers and just youth overall? Like, there's a lot of help needed, especially with me being a teacher. I see it a lot.
Yeah, so youth for me, and really just being black for me is a sense of
Mhm.
community. So like yes, I'm for black women and want us to be great, but in order for us to be great, like we need the
Mhm.
partnership and the friendship and
Yeah.
the companionship of like our black males,
Yeah. Yeah.
so for me, youth is just kind of catch all for all of our like our
Mhm.
community. They also too are like some of the most marginalized because they don't have a voice because they're
Yeah.
young people.
Correct.
So being able to give young people their voice to advocate for themselves, advocate for their own rights, because they face issues too. They have to navigate the world just like how
Mhm.
we do. But they're young and people, it's hard to listen to them. It's hard for them to like get their opinions across, get their policies that they want changed
Yeah.
because one, they don't have the right to vote. They don't have advocates like unless they're like in a part of like some type of community group
Mhm.
fighting for them. So, I'm really trying to navigate supporting the most marginalized communities, which are seemingly Black women and uh, Black and Brown youth.
Yeah.
So youth development is important, and just being able to like tie that back to like the community aspect of like we all need to help each other. So
Mhm.
I know you've heard the saying of like the Black woman is the most like unsupported and like unprotected a
Yeah.
person. If we
Yes.
instill in the youth that we need to protect like Black women earlier on,
Mhm.
it will create like a better ecosystem for us as a colored community.
Yeah, and I think about that like when you talk about like younger men,
Mhm.
man, being a teacher is so stressful because
Yeah.
you do have these young black males that are being raised by their mothers, but they don't have no sense of respect
Hmm.
for their female peers. And so it's kind of like, why would you disrespect just because she's not just your mother's age or anything? Why would you disrespect her anyways?
Hmm.
Because um, she's made an image of your mom, like
Hmm.
skin tone, lips, nose, all those things. So it's kind of like it kind of like confuses me sometimes, and then it angers me as well because we have these young black males that don't really get the concept of like respect,
Hmm.
because respect goes a long way with
Hmm.
anything. And for me, it's like I have another chip on my shoulder, even though I do feel like I'm in a successful position because I'm a teacher. It doesn't make it any easier. It doesn't make it any better for me because it feels like I'm a father to all of them. And that's like every day, 8 hours more than with my own child. Um, and that's a struggle, but I do love the concept of ambassadors of change. And I see that you have an event coming up for 2024's vision,
Yeah.
but we'll get into that later.
Hmm.
But what I was about to say is there's a quote that says a nation cannot go any higher than its woman.
Hmm.
And that's why I think this the concept you're trying to draw it from, right?
Hmm.
Is that um a lot of times we don't like, even with like marriage and relationships, like the man wants to be head of the household instead of, or the breadwinner, but when a woman's a breadwinner it becomes an issue. But I think men should be like happy they get to relax and that their lifespan is actually going to extend more because they don't have to work as hard and be as stressed, because high blood pressure in the black community is super big, like high.
Yeah,
And
no, it still goes back to like community,
yeah.
and being able to like work in partnership, and we've talked about friendship,
Hmm.
um, over like our years of being friends,
Yeah.
and how one that platonic and also like even when you're in romantic
Hmm.
relationships, just stems off of respect for one another.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm about to say, my husband. So me and Aaron, I'm about to say, have a
Of
really
course.
great dynamic, and people always ask,
Uh-huh. How did
like how,
yeah.
and it's always respect, and I believe that the man should be like the head of the household. Like
Hmm.
that was one of the first thing he asked when we were just roommates,
Yeah.
because the piece of paper on the lease was like, who's the head of household, and he was like, hey, I would really like to
For
be
real?
listed. Yeah, he
Okay.
was like, I'd like to be listed the head of household, and I was like, I didn't care, because we were roommates. I was like,
Yeah.
sure, like if the building
So
is
it
on
started off
fire, like they need
platonic,
to
right?
call you.
It was platonic at 1st.
Hmm. It was completely platonic. We were homies at first, so we were. That was the
That's funny.
homeboy. That's my friend.
Hmm.
Um, and then after like months of being roommates,
Yeah.
he became my boyfriend, and
Mm.
now he's my husband. So yay. Um,
Okay.
but it's still. like he would never, and we always go back and forth on like who makes more in the home,
Yeah.
but it has never like affected him. Like he's never felt the type of way like, oh, my girl out here like making more money. He
Yeah.
still went and grind just as hard.
Yeah.
And one story that people always find fascinating is like when we were roommates and we made that transition to being a couple, I still continued to pay my half of the rent.
Yeah.
And people were like, really? Like you're splitting rent with your boyfriend? And I'm like, yes, because I signed up to pay this lease for a year.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
so that commitment was still there.
The commitment was still there. Like, why
Right.
would I put him in a position where now he has to go figure out how to pay this other half of this rent? Like off the whim, just because we got together. Like I already knew, I already budgeted, I was going to pay this half of the rent. Like, why would I want to set him back to figure that out? Especially being that we're together, we're a partner.
Yeah.
We're in a partnership. So, and if just having like that mentality of like what's better for the couple, the whole, will go a long way.
All right, so now I'm curious about this whole platonic relationship because I never even heard the word. Like when I had like lady friends and like throughout high school, junior high school, I never said it was platonic. I just knew we were friends and I was cool and I always had respect for women, so I was never just like, oh, I don't care about her, we not cool. Like I always had like friendship handshakes with a lot of lady friends, and I've always had lady friends throughout college or anything, but man, when you get with the wrong person, it's like those friendships go out the window. And I actually needed those friendships because of different perspectives. And I didn't even notice that a female's perspective is just as valuable as a male perspective when it comes to relationships. It didn't occur to me till like I think like last year. Yeah. That I actually understood how important it was to like get that female perspective. It's kind of like when you're getting advice from dad, and you just go take dad's advice, but dad's advice is kind of like straightforward. There's no.
But you didn't hear what your mom said.
Yeah.
Like how your dad might have been wrong. Yeah.
And then you ask your mom, and then you go try mom's. You're like, oh, mom was actually better than what dad was saying, but dad advice is actually useful as well. I think having those two things, because it's just important, like having a child having his mom and dad having a relationship with that. It's the same thing, right? Precisely. So that's what I was thinking, and kids need that.
Yes, I'm gonna say I mean, even outside of like kids need that, and adults. Like we have a friend group.
Yeah.
And we've been friends since freshman year of college. And people always find it amazing that we can be friends with like men.
Yeah.
Without it being like a sexual relationship or like a romantic relationship. And me and Tay, shout out to my friend on my cut. Would have to really like go back and forth with different women behind our relationship with you guys, and really trying to prove like, no, this is really just like our homies. This is like this is my friend. And like to this day, but I think it shows a lot for a man and a woman to like be able to exercise having just a friendship with someone, without viewing them as like someone that I have to have sex with. Like men should be able to, and women should be able to hold friendships with the opposite sex, and it not be something sexual or tangible or romantic, because those diverse perspectives. And it's fun. Like, I enjoy our friendship.
Yeah, I think that takes a huge level of maturity, and then once again respect, and not viewing the other person as just a sex symbol. I think that's what happened. I became like very mature, especially through college and having those experiences with like having platonic relationships. I think Vic and Deamber were my first like actual, like when I just hang out, female friends. Like those were like we just hung out.
We all met first. That's fine. You could claim Vic and Deamber.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand we met and we hung out. When I actually hung out with Deamber and Vic by themselves, like, yo, they so cool. Like it just man, and then a lot of stuff happened, and then after that her relationship got squashed because of whatever relationship I was in.
Yeah,
Didn't
you were
want
on your
that
own
type of
buddy.
thing. So I disappeared from the face of the earth for a while.
Yeah. Dr. Dame,
Um,
he left the friend group, y'all.
yes, I left the friend
We
group,
felt so
but
betrayed.
I came back and I always try to like have something to offer to my group of friends because
Hmm.
I can actually say my group of friends are not like your group of friends. My group of friends, we actually doing stuff out here. Like I have a group of friends with doctors, people in aviation. Um, Bria, she has a nonprofit organization. Like she's always doing something.
Hmm.
I'm kind of scared of Bria because like she's moving like
Wow.
Superwoman.
Sakina said that the other
I was
day
like, what is
too.
she
Like,
on?
I'm like, I'm about to relax. I'm gonna stop posting when I do.
Nah, it's not that. It's just like, wow, like she really doing the work. I
Hmm.
missed, I think, 3 events of Ambassadors in Change because I was either sick, tired, and sick again. Because kids are disgusting.
We're gonna amp it up, and then I must say, Ambassador Change is still very much so in like its pilot and its
Yeah.
new phase because we're going through
Hmm.
a rebrand and we're going through a restructure.
Okay.
Um, so it's just hard because everybody's like, "Oh, you're doing so much," and I'm like, "Y'all, this is just like not even the tip of the
I
iceberg."
feel like it's light work for you.
I mean, it's a lot of
Just
work,
because of the
but
work you did in college, it's kind of like light work. I don't know. It feel like lightweight for real.
to you, no, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
I want to say,
probably.
well, because big that we know how big Ambassador Change can be and
Yeah.
the impact that we want to make and the type
Hmm.
of events that we're trying to put on and how we want programming to flow. Like we really hope that we reach a point where like our programming's in like all the schools in Houston and all the schools in LA and all the
Hmm.
schools in Atlanta.
Hmm.
And that's the dream, and we're having like in-person conferences instead of having
Yeah.
like virtual summits, like
Hmm.
being able to bring like thousands out to talk about the impact that we're trying to make for Black women and youth.
Yeah.
So there's things that we dream about, but we also, I understand, like, I'm still in my 20s. It's gonna take time to build and grow.
Are you patient though? Like about like the growth of it? Are you like trying to be patient or do you like feel like this is taking too long? Are you like in a rush?
Oh, I'm patient. Like you said, talking about my life,
Yeah.
and it looks strategic. It is
Really does.
strategic. Like everything I've
Sheesh.
done, these steps that I've created, um, are all part of a plan.
Yeah.
Um, you can ask my parents that I've been like this all my life, like making out this plan. Like I knew I was going to ULM like in
Really?
eighth grade. Like
Bro, I
I,
did
I
not.
want to say my life was
Eighth grade.
really,
Wow.
really, really set to become who I am today.
Yeah.
And I know it takes patience to get where I dream to be, even down to like where I want to be in my marriage, where I want to be with my kids, where I want to
Hmm.
be just like as a woman, as an individual. Um, this isn't this isn't my peak. Like I know where I can
Yeah.
see myself in the future, but I also want it to be strong and sustainable. So like I understand the patience, and like that's something that I really want us as like a Black community to like unlearn, which is that sense of urgency.
Mm.
Like things need to happen right now. I'm not grinding as hard as I can. They got this
Yeah.
person right here who's
Hustle
already,
culture.
making this.
Yeah.
When we're all on our different races, and it's okay to like take your time and build something out that you really really are passionate about. Like
Yeah.
Ambassador Change isn't something I'm doing for like, do we curse here?
Yeah. I
Shits
mean,
and giggles.
can say we curse here.
It's like something we do for shits and giggles, something that I want to do to change the world, change
Yeah.
mindsets and impact people's lives. So I'm not going to rush into to throwing anything together.
Mm.
Um and if it takes forever, it just takes forever. So I am patient with it.
Hmm. Do you have any like traumatic experiences though? Like that I don't know if that patience is like learned. You said it's always been that.
I mean,
But my experience, what caused me to be patient was traumatic experiences, which like made me be like, okay, I like it's kind of like putting your hand on the stove,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it's on, but you want to see like what it feel like and see if it got hot fast enough, and
Mm-hmm.
you get burned in the process. That's what it kind of feel like for me. So patience has been like a love hate thing.
Patience, I mean, definitely a love hate relationship with it. Of course, I want to be a millionaire like tomorrow. But I understand that's not the reality. Um, Traumatic experience that made me learn patience. I don't. Uh, I'm the oldest child. I feel like that's. I mean, it's not traumatic, but being someone that people have looked up to your entire life. Well, at
Okay.
least like since I was 4, that was when my one of my brothers was born.
Hmm.
Um, does teach you like patience or how to be careful or like how to mold yourself. Um, I guess it's a different type of discipline.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily know if that's patience, but it is a discipline that was learned. But I don't know. I don't know what taught me patience. I feel like I've had this. I think it came with like maturity. Growing
Yeah.
up, the pandemic taught a lot of patience.
Mm.
Because what I struggled with as a person is I like things to go according to my plan.
Yeah.
Because I think about it a lot. I really do overthink and really think about my life strategically and things strategically and like my next steps and how I'm
Hmm.
gonna navigate and what I'm gonna do next and like what can further where I'm trying to go.
Hmm.
So when I don't receive or don't get or plans change, it really does frustrate me and I think it's like a reflection of myself and
Hmm.
it's really not. Like the pandemic was one of the most humbling experiences because it's like no, like nobody has a job, nobody's doing
Nobody's
anything,
doing
we're not doing
anything.
any events, everything that you plan to do is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
um and I mean, that wasn't like I didn't cause the pandemic. That's not my fault.
Yeah.
But just trying to get over that, and then again, like planning a wedding, very humbling things because you think everything's gonna go the way that you want it to go.
Mm.
And even though my wedding did go the way I wanted to go, it
Right.
still taught a lot of patience.
It was still a scary experience in a way.
Yeah, planning a wedding is absolutely horrible. It's 0 out of 10.
I keep going to weddings and then find out I know nothing about weddings. It's sad.
Yeah, I mean, men can live that life like
Wow.
la di da di
I
da.
be
I'm just
feeling
gonna
bad.
show up.
I'm in La La Land the whole time. I'm like, okay, it's a reception. What is that? I'm
Yeah, that's
like,
Aaron's like, we need to have a rehearsal
man,
dinner. People do not know what to do when they come to weddings. We have to rehearse. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we do.
I agree. I agree. I've been to two already. Well, mm, two in like a year, 2 year span, pretty
Hmm.
much. So it has been interesting.
Yeah, I mean, men are interesting. So like, this is sidetrack, but
Hmm.
just thinking about like how men have no aspects of like what goes down in a wedding, we're also discovering that with childbearing and like becoming parents, because Aaron's like never held a infant
Yeah,
before or changed
yeah,
a diaper. Was that your life before?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, see, and that's just so
And
fascinating, y'all.
that's
We
where
need
I
men.
get the phrase involuntary amnesia. Like I just be forgetting stuff, but I know I can remember to get my son just because it. I wouldn't say it was a traumatic experience, but it
Hmm.
was very very tough. Like waking up 3 hours later after you just not getting to sleep and then jumping out of bed because you feel like a screaming baby feels like an alarm system,
Hmm.
or it feels like they're under attack because the cries sound like I don't know. I don't know. That was one of those traumatic experiences too. Of just like being a first time dad, not having any idea what to do because there's no real training. The mom just seems to like know exactly what to do. I was like, what
Because
the
we need to integrate y'all again back to community and integrate you all.
jeez for real?
We were talking, you know, Ben and Lori. We were talking
Yeah.
to Benjamin, and he was saying how none of his friends are like YAB. Aaron
Uh,
hasn't like held a child or like were ever
yeah.
called to be babysitters, and it's not like we don't trust them to be babysitters. It's just like we never think to
About
call our male friends to be babysitters for our
yeah.
kids. And I'm like, that needs to change. Like y'all need to come clock in some work. to learn how to navigate
Oh
him. Like
wow.
I'm us, Aaron. You have nephews. Like we share nephews. Like we have the
Yeah.
same nephews. Um, and we're active in their lives. Like Tommy, Timmy, Benji come to the home all the
Mhm.
time, and I was really trying to figure out like where was Aaron when I was like changing Benji's diaper? Like
Oh
where
wow.
was he throughout these lessons? And I know it's like it's
Oh
women's
wow.
fault that we
Yeah.
coddle them and be like, oh no, we got it, we
Yeah,
got
we
it.
got it. We
And I
got
should have
it.
been like, no, you figure it out.
Yeah, I
Like
got
learn
that
how
a
to do
lot.
that because when your baby comes, like you need to already have some practice going.
Yeah, because men
So
don't want to argue that whole space that you already have going on. That's how it was
mhm.
for me when she was like, "No, no, I got it, I got it." I'm like, "All right,
Yeah,
cool.
like
Yeah, that stanky
have
ass
it.
diaper. I'm good. That smell."
No, we're about to switch it up on y'all.
I agree. I
Y'all
agree.
need to tap in.
It has a switch. It has a switch
Mhm.
because a lot of times, um, I think because the way women's history month, what I'm finding out is that women weren't even able to vote to like 1960s.
Mhm.
So that tells you that their rights just now, like the rights are just now becoming like very, very, very prevalent. Women are coming in more and more power, which is actually a good thing, I think, as being a black man, because back then men didn't have much time to spend with their kids. Now we do, so it makes sense of what you're saying. Like men need to take on that role of like changing diapers. I actually changed a lot of diapers.
Yeah, I'm about to
So
say, are just learning how to take care of like the kids in their community. Like it should
yeah.
not just be on the women and the mothers out there to one know how to talk to like the youth,
Mhm.
know how to look out for the youth. Like
Yeah.
if I see a child um alone,
Hmm.
like it's alert. Like okay, where's this parent? Like
Yeah.
and like I don't know if men have that same like trigger, and that's what I think we all need to be like that, just being protective
Yeah.
um of our youth and of our babies, and just being active in like babysitting, like I said, or
Hmm.
just being active in children's lives.
Yeah. Whew. There's a lot of things that have to be changed. But what I would say this, my life did change when I decided that I wanted to be a community leader some way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
And that's why I accepted my role as a teacher. Because I have to look out for those kids.
Yeah, I
Eight
love
hours a
teaching.
day. 8 hours. Well, actually, more than that. It's more like 10. It's
Hmm.
more like 10. We don't get paid enough. And I'm okay with that because I actually enjoy what I do. But to an extent,
No, it's a
uh,
different story.
the mental issues, the if I turn my back, somebody's throwing a pencil at me or something. It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
But I want to get into Miss Academy.
Okay.
I saw that and I was like, the nonprofit development and then the fundraising and then the grant writing. I was like, yo, this is business. I
It
love it.
is business.
So I don't have no like serious work or skill in nonprofit. So I don't really understand it too much. But I really know I understand that you do. So
You
I would
understand
like
what
for you
I do?
to.
What did I do? I'm about to say.
But I understand you run a nonprofit, so I'm trying to figure out what's the big difference. It's still a business though, correct? Or it's
Yeah.
more so of organization, what you would say,
I'm I'm gonna say
politically speaking.
words are words. It's an
Words word.
organization,
Okay.
but nonprofits are organizations that do not sell things or provide things for profit. So
Hmm.
that's where the non and profit comes from, not for profit. Um, and with Miss Academy, so Miss
Hmm.
Academy is a organization slash business that brings together different professionals and different skills that offer courses or workshops or one-to-one sessions in a variety of different fields. And I mean like from hair and makeup down to like business down to marketing. So I'm one of their nonprofit professionals. Because of my experience running
Hmm.
Youth Thrive Texas and Ambassadors of Change, and I offer grant writing and strategic planning classes and some different type of fundraising classes through the Miss Academy platform. So it's an app, you could download it, sign up for classes with me if you're interested in grant writing strategic planning, or just like how to start your nonprofit, like just the basics of like how to get going. Like I have this mission, I have this vision, but I don't know where to begin. I offer like a
Mm.
full like nonprofit 101, getting started with building your nonprofit.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I know a lot of ladies that will enjoy this information. So I think you should really go to Miss Academy, sign up. Uh, is there a price?
There is a price.
What's the price?
The app is free, but
Well, the
there's
app
a
is free, of
price. I must
course.
say, yeah, the app is free. But depending on what type of courses, like some courses I offer like a 5 week full tutorial, like the ones where we start from scratch and build out your whole organization down to like
Mm,
the strategic plan, how we're gonna do programs, your organizational budget, which is, you know, a little bit pricey. But I also do workshops, like group workshops on like how
mm.
to do peer to peer fundraisers, and then I have like the one off grant writing classes, which are also affordable.
I actually like the sound of that, the grant writing. I think that's going to be one of those things I'm going to get into. And
Everybody likes
I
grant
do
writing.
believe supporting friends. So, and I've been missing out on fundraising,
Yeah,
donating
I'm about to say
to
workshops are like
Ambassadors of Change.
$30. Come just join a workshop.
Now, I love workshops.
Yeah.
I love communicating and networking with people, especially if it's face to face. It's always
Mhm.
better for me. Even though I'm not like a huge social butterfly, I can be awkward sometimes. But um,
You're working on that.
yeah, I'm working. I'm definitely working on it
Mhm.
because Generation Vote was a very I would say new experience for me that summer, but it was very eye opening. It's just crazy how much I don't know about voting.
Yeah, I must. There's
It's
a lot of
ridiculous.
organizations that span over a lot of different issues in the political world and the voting
Yeah.
world. So Generation Votes, I'm a one of their 501(c)(3)
Mhm.
board members on their national board. It's a national organization that combats voter suppression. So yeah, I'm very proud of my Gen Vote team. They're a small organization and fairly new, and they're youth led,
Mm.
which is really big, and youth of color led, women of color. So shout out to Bree. Uh,
I say so.
I'm gonna say Bree is one of the dopest minds out here doing this community organizing work,
Okay.
and I just love working with her because of the passion and like being one of the founders and like running this organization.
Mhm.
Um, it's just really great watching her do this. It also makes me feel old because I'm like, wow, there are people like younger than me coming up
Yeah.
doing this work. And they're asking me to be a board member, which is like for like older people, and I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
not me. But yeah, I'm really proud to sit on their board and really advise them.
Mm.
But that was the Just Democracy for All tour.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, being able to have conversations, like candid conversations
Mhm.
about like what is suppressing the youth vote per region, per area, per state
Yeah.
is really crucial because like you said, like people don't know that these are issues. And they also don't know like it gives a space for us to navigate how do we resolve these
Mhm.
so we can strategize and make a plan when it comes down to like advocating for policies of what we
Mhm.
want as the young people when it comes down to voting.
Right. Because I mean, if we can understand that, then we can understand like the laws that are being set in place, how to vote against them, how to get new laws put in place.
Hmm.
I understand the whole law thing, but like the voting, I had no like real face value with it. So that was definitely eye opening for me. And I do understand democracy. Obviously, I'm a world geography teacher, so I have to understand it. But yeah, that was. I definitely look forward to going to another event. I do. I do. I need to go to more because I'm like I can't be
Yeah,
out
they're
here
working on
pushing
having a
30.
big conference around voter suppression. They're really trying
Hmm.
to advocate for automatic voter registration at
Hmm.
18, which you know you would think would be
Yeah.
a simple task, but obviously there's people out here who don't want us to vote. So
Wow.
um, yeah, so I'm really excited for what Generation Vote has upcoming, especially around like trying to get this policy changed around automatic voter registration
Yeah.
amongst turning 18. That'll be
See,
super dope.
I didn't even know that was going on. So look at
Hmm.
that. That's where I don't want to be. I don't want to be in that space of not knowing what's going on as far as like the future, which are
Well,
the kids,
yeah,
which are the
society
children.
is created to be like that. Like you don't
Distracting.
know because I'm about to say you don't know because it's not.
Because
They don't want you to know.
Yeah.
Which is why like organizations like Generation Vote and
Mhm.
Youth Thrive and Ambassadors of Change, everybody who's out here doing this movement work around voter registration or get out to vote work, are important because like we hand out the guides, we give you all the information. You can register to vote right here with us.
Mhm.
You can ask any community organizer. Like I got voter registration
Mhm.
cards in my purse, because we it's just that important and it's that serious, and we understand that the world and society was built for us to not be in the know or for us to
Yeah.
not be intact with like what's going on with the laws and policies.
Mm. That's annoying. I hate that. I
Yeah.
really do. I really do. But
Mm-hmm.
now I want to get into another thing
What's up?
because I love when I get to see beautiful black women dress up so nice for what we call pageants.
Where do we begin with pageants? Oh my gosh,
I mean, you
this
were
could be
doing
on
it
the
when we were at
soapbox.
ULM, so I didn't know you was gonna take it that far, but
I
you know,
know
I'm just
people
like,
get surprised at how
wow,
serious I am
you
about
really was
pageants. Yeah.
serious. But even then,
But
you were serious. So I was like,
I've been doing pageants since I was 13. So like I'm
I did not
27
know
now. So
that.
yeah, we're over
Wow.
a decade into the pageant game.
Sheesh. I
Um
did not know.
yeah, I'm about to say I
No wonder you
absolutely
were like super passionate about it. I was like, what about the pageants?
because
And
I
like
believe in it. I
you went
believe in
through a whole
pageantry.
spill, and I was like, wow, she's super passionate. It was
Absolutely.
refreshing though, because like pageants aren't like really talked about too much, especially in like the
I
black
know.
community.
I
So
know. Because it's like not accessible.
now we got
Um
you. So inform us.
yeah, now we got you. Yeah, so I'm like, where do I even start? I started in pageantry, like I said, at 13, um, competing in the USA system, which is one of the most well known. They go to Miss
Mm-hmm.
Universe, which is the queen of all queens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I first started, like, I mean, I was like fish out of water. Like, I was horrible, y'all. Um, but loved it. I loved like the feeling of being on stage and just the commitment, and like pageant really molded me to who I am today, and I really want other black and brown girls to experience that because it does like really boost your self efficacy, boost your self confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and your public speaking skills and and your interview skills.
Okay.
And I just am always an advocate, just like how people play sports.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe pageantry is a sport. Um,
Oh yeah.
that's why I have
Yeah.
pageant watch parties. Like my friends, my line sisters,
Yeah.
they didn't realize how committed and serious pageant girls were until like coming to the house and watching, and they're like, these
Wow.
girls, like, this is intense, like this is
Yeah.
really serious for them. I'm like, yes, like we're spending thousands on coaches, we are spending
What?
thousands
See,
on
I didn't.
gear,
I didn't know
we
that.
are we are practicing. Like I'm going to practice every day because I want to win. And a lot of people don't understand like the scholarships are real. Like you're really
Yeah.
going to college. I had a full ride to Troy University in Alabama, um because of pageantry.
Wow.
So I'm a pageant girl through and through.
See, I
Any
didn't even
questions?
know all
I'm gonna say
that.
if you ask questions, I can answer. I'm for it. We can
So
talk about
my
pageants.
question is the I don't remember you telling me, but like the dinner with the mayor. I don't know what was that
Dinner with
like. I don't
what
know.
did
I
I have
think y'all
there?
had the Black Witches pageant where you had dinner with the mayor. I'm not sure. I don't know if it was you or
I mean, I've
I
had
remember you
dinner with the
mentioned
mayor
it.
before because of the sash. But I think
Okay,
the story you're trying to
the
that you're
sash.
asking about is behind like why the sash is important and like
Hmm.
why pageantry is important for the black community.
Yeah.
So like pageantry in the black community was purely founded out of protest, which is also why I love the
Wow.
sport. So everybody knows Miss America, the oldest pageant in the whole world.
Hmm.
They used to have rule number 7, which was you must be of white race to compete in Miss America.
Wow.
So blatant racism. So when they had Miss America one year, Miss Black America, as soon as like they put the crown on the girl's hair,
Yeah.
boom, right across the street they do Miss Black America. So like all press, everybody comes over
Uh-huh.
purely out of like just protest of like
Yeah.
y'all not gonna let us compete. That Miss Black America is born. So now active competition against each other.
Um,
Um, which led to like Miss America lifting rule number 7 and allowing people of color to compete.
mm,
So for that, but the only I'm about to say from that with
mhm,
Miss Black America or Miss like Southern University, Miss whatever festival, those smaller pageants, were the only Black women that were able to go to like dinners with officials. So like
mhm,
these are the person that are going to be representatives to speak on behalf of the community. So pageantry back then, I might say still now, you really had to be a community advocate and be a great representative because you are the only
mm,
person in the room to talk about your issues for however long that you have
mm.
because these are the only women being invited. So they
Yeah.
took their titles extremely serious because like it was a form of protest and like
Yeah.
advocacy. So that's why pageantry is really really dope.
Wow. Why does it sound like it remind me of like when the NBA players go to the White House?
Exactly.
Is that serious? Okay. Dang. I didn't even know that. So do
Mm-hmm.
they have pageants for men? I'm
Yes.
curious. Cause I saw that. I was like,
They had Mr.
I don't
America.
know. Yeah, they had Mr. America and I saw it and I was like, what?
I've been to Mr.
Why?
America a couple times.
I'm like, why haven't I done this? Because I'm a very competitive person.
I'm about to say
I'm yeah, I'm
they just
pretty.
don't get as much clout, but yeah, they
I
have
mean, it
Mr.
makes
America.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't, because I mean, not too many men want to watch other men walk across the stage or whatever.
In
So
swimsuits, what? I love those. Those are mine.
see,
They're
see how
entertaining.
that sounds, right?
Y'all watched us for hundreds of years walk across
Well,
the
yeah, I
stage in
mean, yeah,
swimsuits.
but that's women for me, of course. I'm like, of course, I'm interested, but
Hmm.
for men, it's like, okay, women probably enjoy it more than men, so
Yeah,
it makes
I don't
sense.
know. Mr. America is pretty competitive to me.
Yeah,
So
I figured it would be
yeah,
because I was thinking about it. I was like, what if I join the
join.
pageant?
I like it.
Because
It's
I don't have
really.
enough information. So now that you telling me this and the seriousness, I'm like, yeah,
I must say, pageant people
I
are
feel like I'm about to.
extremely serious. I think people that's what people underestimate, like how
Yeah.
serious. And I'm like, y'all, girls are dropping $10,000 on a dress. Like
So
we're gonna cry if we lose. Like
how
we're
long
locked
do
in.
y'all prepare though? Like
It takes a
what?
year. You prep for a year.
A year?
Yeah, yeah, like
I'm thinking that's
I mean, it's
now.
interview practice, it's walking. It's just like going
Wow,
to the Super Bowl because you have to think about it.
that's
You
crazy.
typically only have one chance a year to get all the way to the international level that you're trying to go. So like for me, it's like a little sore spot because I'm supposed to be competing this weekend, but
Yeah.
I found myself pregnant. Um, so no longer competing this year. But
Okay.
you get a local title. So, I was Mrs. Pearland and then I was
Yeah.
gonna go to Mrs. Texas
Uh.
and Texas goes to Mrs. International. So
Oh shit.
but if you lose, like say I lost at Mrs. Texas, like I'm
Mm.
waiting until next year to like make it to the international stage. So it's like you have to
Mm.
and once you make it
Damn.
to internationals, like that's I think people underestimate. You can see it at Miss Universe. You could be the prettiest girl in your country, in your city,
Yeah.
but when you go and compete against everybody in the world, like this is the top girls. These are the top ones. These are people who are giving their all.
Yeah.
You realize like, oh, you might have underestimated yourself. Like it gets hard. So it's really 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 competitive. And this is girls sports. Like there's girls who've competed 7 times. Like the current Miss USA.
Yeah.
Um, why am I blanking on her name? I see her face. But the current Miss USA,
Mhm.
um, she's from Utah and she's
Mhm.
competed I think 6 or 7 times
Yeah.
before winning her state pageant just to go to USA. And I mean, was a front runner since getting to the USA stage. Like she was great. Um, and made top 10 at Universe. So it's just a lot of dedication and practice that goes into it. It's our sport. Like we go to the gym, we hire a coach, and we drop bags
I
to
don't know.
keep them in the pageant.
For some reason, the way you make it sound, I'm willing to do that because it's like you only have one life, and I mean,
Go do
if
it.
you lose, you lose. But what you gain is like a whole year experience of like dedicating yourself to something that
That you always
not too
wanted to
many people
do.
gonna try to go into. So,
Exactly. I must say, there's only 70 women ever who's been Miss USA. That's like a
whoa,
flex to be like, I was one of them.
hell yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I must say.
Publicity
Yeah, it's
for
a very big flex.
decades.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'm willing to take that flex. I know what my homework gonna be. But matter of fact, I do have a question. What are
Mhm.
some steps that an interested candidate can take to get started?
In pageantry,
Yeah.
the best step would be to watch pageants.
Really?
Yeah, and shop around. We now have back in the day it used to only be Miss America, Miss USA,
Mm,
which are still like golden too. Like they're the top. But now there are so many systems, and really what designates like your pageant journey is
mm,
finding a system that works best for you, and that you feel comfortable in, because you don't want to reign for a year in a system that doesn't align with your values or you're just not comfortable in.
mm,
So being able to like shop around and watch competitions and see like what competition you one yourself would do strong in
mm.
would be like my first step. So I would be like watch pageants, research all the different systems, follow some pageant girls, and see if you're really really about that life, because I mean like you said there is publicity that goes to it. Like
Yeah.
um that's something that title holders always have to like be aware of. It's even like as a black title holder,
Mm,
we got a lot of like hate comments behind like having like Miss Black America and Miss
mm.
Black USA, because they're like, if I would have Miss White USA it would be a problem. And we always come up and be like, y'all did have Miss White USA for 50
For
years. So
wow.
because nobody of color could compete in your pageant, so
Yeah.
like be for real. um but just, I mean, prepping for that, like people are on your Facebook, people are on your Instagram, because you become a public
Jeez.
figure.
Yeah.
So, it's really a lot of just searching on yourself to see if you're prepped to be a pageant girl, and then finding the proper system, and then
Hmm.
getting a coach. You got to get a
You
coach.
know, how
Yeah.
much is a coach?
It depends on
It's a
if you
hefty
want to be coached by
penny.
the best or not.
Oh,
um
okay. Okay.
No, coaching is really not bad. I mean, yes, prepping for the investment of pageantry, and that's one of the biggest conversations, because I know you don't know, but like there's drama in the pageant world right now, behind the whole age lift. So Miss Universe lifted their age restrictions, so you have to be like under the age of 28 to compete, but now it's open to everybody.
Wow.
Um, and for some people, me, I'm for it, because
Yeah.
like, why not?
Hmm.
And then other people are like, no, like this should be like only a category just for like this specific age limit. Um, and I always thought of it as like pageantry is a time and financial commitment.
Hmm.
So by the time that I was able to compete at like my fullest potential, like financially, just
Yeah.
mindset, preparation wise,
Hmm.
I wasn't. I was only 25. Like, and at that time, like and this it used to be 26. So at the
Yeah.
time, 26 was like the age cap.
Oh.
So it's like I only have like a year, maybe
Yeah.
2 years left for eligibility,
Damn.
by the time like I'm financially and time wise ready to compete at my
Hmm.
fullest potential, because of like how expensive pageantry is. um and I think people need to start, and I'm not saying that's a lot of the argument of like just the classism that's in pageantry, and
Yeah.
lifting that age barrier really really helps that, because
Hmm.
by the time like a girl has a full-time job and figure and disposable income, like she's well into her 20s.
Right.
um because like I don't know how these 19-year-olds are getting $10,000 dresses. Like shout out to them, shout out to their parents,
Sheesh.
but that's not the reality for all girls.
Yeah.
I might have to be 28 when I can
Hmm.
drop the bag like that.
That makes sense.
So that's my whole take on like the age category thing. But I know a lot of people are just really, I don't know. I see
I feel like
mixed
it's not
comments.
competitive enough because the age
Yeah, because they're like, who
restriction.
wants to compete against like a 32-year-old? How you gonna compare a 19-year-old against a 32-year-old? And I'm like, it's the best
You'd be
heifer on the floor. Yeah,
surprised.
like I'm about to say whoever practices the best.
Competitiveness really makes people look a lot better than their age. I guarantee it.
Because you can tell
So,
who practice. I mean, like
yeah.
it's still gonna be the
Diet,
best woman out there.
the
Yeah, I'm about to
diet,
say.
hitting the gym. Like, if you got
hmm
that straightened out, like, you're not gonna age as fast. There's a lot of
Exactly.
32-year-olds out here that don't even look 32.
Okay, like
So,
even I look at like previous Universes or previous
yeah.
whatever countries, and I'm like girls who won in like 2014. I'm like today they could still hit the stage and probably win. Like these women are
Mm,
gorgeous, you know.
yeah.
Um, so I'm in favor of them lifting the age requirements on the
Mm.
pageant, but I don't know. I try not to be in the mess. It's just it must say pageantry is just so messy right now. Like I wish y'all were all in the weeds. I wish like everybody knew about pageants so we could talk about it. Like
I'm definitely gonna get into the conversation. I like the competitiveness of it.
mhm.
But now I want to get into Ambassadors of Change 2024 vision. So I wrote it down, and I was very interested in the first point as well. I'm interested in all of them, but the first one I was like, that makes sense. So you have launching the Young Ambassadors program for young black men ages 12 through 18.
Our distinguished, yes, young
Yeah.
ambassadors. Yeah, so our executive director, Patrice
Mm-hmm.
Harrison, she really brought that idea up and just like thinking about how we want to move ambassadors of change forward
Yeah.
in the future and how to broaden our programming, and we were thinking about like there really needs to be program for black men, even though
Yeah.
like the historically like ambassador of change has always been for black women and girls.
Mm-hmm.
um we bringing back to that community, we need that community with our black men
Yeah.
for black girls to thrive as well.
Correct. Correct.
So it just felt organic and nice to like shift our programming and tweak our programming and like reconstruct our programming for black boys and young black adults
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to build their self-efficacy as well. So being able to like build out a program. So
Yeah.
the Distinguished Young Ambassadors is geared to be an in-school program. We're starting in LA in California
Hmm.
with this. So it's gonna be a, I guess, rebrand
Yeah.
or restructure of curriculum that we already hold to
Mm-hmm.
build self-efficacy and leadership development for
Okay.
our black girls, but coming from the lens of a black man. So we're looking for black men to be on our board. If you are
Okay.
interested in being a board member and you're a black man,
I feel obligated to.
you feel obligated to, we would love to have you.
Not
It's a
nah,
future.
just because of my own morals, like I feel obligated to, and then my own brand, which is geared towards young men. So a lot of young men that play sports at my school are looking up to me. So
Yes, as a
I'm
promoter
like
though.
heavy as a crown. But
No, we need that.
it brought, now that you mentioned platonic relationships, it opens the table and it builds the next generation to actually understand the concept of platonic relationships.
And it's just thinking about
Yeah.
like what struggles, like being able to display to both like black
Hmm.
girls and black boys like the struggles that opposites receive.
Yeah.
So as we are unpacking the trauma that black boys have to go through, it's also like we could see the similarities now of like this is what black boys are going through and this is what black girls are going
Hmm.
through, and also
Hmm.
the differences of like
Yeah.
this is how black boys have to navigate the world, how they have to navigate leadership and like where they're at and where they stand, because
Hmm.
it's really geared towards meeting them meeting our youth where they're at,
Yeah.
which is why the two groups are separated instead of just holding like a conjunction,
Okay.
because doing youth work like you have to approach boys differently,
Yeah.
and I found that out working at Youth Rise Texas,
Hmm.
because we've always struggled to recruit young black boys into our programming, but
Hmm.
it was just also because of like how we came off. Like there was no black men on our staff.
Yeah.
Our
Okay.
shirts were low key a little girly. Like it just to approach
That's
black boys, you
funny.
have to have a different type of swagger.
Yeah.
I started I was a part of this cohort. I think you saw it with Kerry Washington, where
Yeah, I
she
remember
flew out
seeing
a
it.
couple of organizations, and she flew out this other org called One Hood. Shout out to One Hood. They're based out in Pittsburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like black men led, and they just have a completely different swag. And I'm like,
Mm,
this is what I see my brothers joining, even though it's the
yeah,
same mission, same work. We're doing the same thing.
right.
My brothers are not gonna come sign up for like what I'm doing because like I'm they don't want to be with me. Like
Yeah.
that's not I'm not the vibe. We're not the vibe. But I
Yeah.
see them being strategic with like how they target and how they recruit their black boys.
Mm,
So we're really trying to like rework our curriculum, our structure, and how we approach are black men so they could be completely invested in like what we're trying to provide to them, what we're trying to
yeah.
teach them.
Okay.
And they just navigate the world different than like our girls. So like having those instructors that understand how they navigate the world and like being able to like go at the pace that they need is imperative and important for us.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know what video I was watching on YouTube, but it was talking about the young black male experience. And when I watched that, it connected me back to my students a lot more because I obviously forgot. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why. The older I got, I felt like I just had some type of amnesia. I forgot like all my teenage years a little bit, but it's very important. So I'm definitely gonna be on board. Just know that, especially for the summer. You know, I'm going hard all
There
summer.
for the summer.
I am here
We
for
need
the
that.
summer. But then you have Call Miss Ambassador. Then you have Distinguished Young Ambassadors Conference, the 6 months leadership cohort, July of 2024. Is that correct?
No, it's been
No.
postponed. But
Oh.
so
Oh my
the
bad.
yeah, but I mean it's gonna start in January 2025.
Oh, okay.
Um, so the biggest thing, and I'm like, you must have checked the website a while
Like
ago.
last week,
Not last week. How?
2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I checked
Well,
like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I don't know.
yeah, I'm about to say it had to be a
It had
couple
to
weeks
be.
ago. Because we just relisted all of our programmings and like the change of dates.
Mm.
So the next big thing that we have coming up is our um restorative women's restorative health summit. And
Okay.
that's in May. It's not necessarily like a program, but it's a virtual summit that we're holding
Mhm.
for Black women to talk about like health, restorative health, and like um
Mhm.
maternal health and rights. So that's super exciting. We have different experts from different areas of the health field. So we have doulas, we have
Hmm.
advocates, we have doctors coming on to talk about menopause in the Black
Yeah.
community, talk about period poverty and menstruating as a Black woman, and also just maternal rights and maternal issues that we face as Black women. As you know, Black women have like the highest infant mortality rate,
Hmm.
and we're talking about one, how do we navigate that as a community? How do we see the signs, and how do we advocate for ourselves with our health practitioners in the world? So that's a summit that's gonna be held May 18th virtually. It's
Hmm.
free to attend, so like sign up. Um, you could sign up using the AOC Ambassador Change Instagram, so AOC Inc. And the link is right there in the bio, or it's in my bio. Either way. Um, but the leadership cohort
Hmm.
is formally what would be the pageant. But that's also going through a full restructure to be stronger programmatically.
Okay.
So we've always viewed with the pageant the contestants would always participate in workshops and leadership development courses,
Hmm.
but this is just ironing out to be more structured um, and really separating the nonprofit from the LLC of the pageant.
Okay. Okay. That's a lot.
It is a lot of work. I must say.
Man, I'm like, bruh, what have I been doing?
Stop, please
Nah,
don't.
nah,
No, don't overwork
nah, nah,
yourselves.
nah. I'm not even gonna do that because I hate being overwhelmed. Like it sucks. Like I got overwhelmed when I was building up my website. I was like, bruh, this fucking sucks. I don't know
Yeah, doing
why.
websites is, I mean, that's why you're like, oh yeah, you read that
No,
3
I
weeks ago.
paid for that. I'm not doing no more websites.
Yeah, hashtag outsource. I believe in that.
Did you outsource your website or you built it
No,
yourself?
I've been building. I did AOC's. I did Ambassadors of Change website. I'm gonna say it's obvious, it's very slow. Like I
That's
see
what
what you
Vic.
saw 3 weeks ago. I'm like, it's not
Yeah.
even.
That's what
No,
Vic
it's
told me
not
when I
even
was
3 weeks.
doing homework on you. She was like, "Yeah, she built that whole thing herself." I was like, "What about the passion?" Oh yeah, that's with Ambassador Channel. I was like, "Oh my god,
Well,
Vic,
I'm about to say, yeah, Ambassador Change
that's a oh
has been
man,
around for a while.
yeah,
And our founder, Patrice Harrison, she just came back as a CEO,
mm-hmm.
to better support. So it's just me and her being a team of two holding
Mm.
it down. We just onboarded a board of directors, which is exciting, to move our work forward. And I'm excited for us, like, really being able to structure out our programming, because with them tied with Ambassador Change being tied to the
Mm.
pageant, and like everybody knowing them as two, the pageant will forever ever always take over, and always take over time, because I mean it's a lot to run an international competition. So I'm excited that we're finally getting to a space where, like, there'll be two separate entities, and we could really focus on, like, Ambassador Change programmatically, and how on all the other things that we want to do
Mm.
outside of the pageant, as an organization.
Okay, Whew. Man, look,
I'm gonna say,
this has been great. I hope y'all have got the opportunity to listen. And also, make sure y'all go check out Bria's page. It will be, I believe we're gonna have it like on the corner of each video. I forgot how it goes. I don't edit the video, so I don't really know.
not
But
I don't edit the
I
video.
really don't be editing, so I know he puts it like at the bottom, top,
Just
anywhere.
points
But
anywhere.
look, make sure y'all take the opportunity to get into the grant writing courses on Miss Academy, the nonprofit development and fundraising, because I know a lot of Black women there's a lot of Black women out there very educated and want this information and want to get in and want to tap in with it. So I just want to make sure that everybody got the opportunity. And I'd like to thank Bria Brown for coming on today and doing that for us.
Oh, thank you for having me, brother.
Peace.